Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CryptosRUs. I am George. Today, I have a good one for you guys. Today, I want to talk about the Bitcoin dominance and how it keeps rising and rising and rising and rising. And as many of you guys have noticed, altcoins are suffering. So, will altcoins continue to suffer? And will Bitcoin dominance continue to rise? That's what I want to focus on today. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I have these live streams every weekday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying my shorter segments too. This morning, I posted a pretty good one about, when Bitcoin was at 5,000 and when things were looking really bad. And I basically had the same message then as I do now. So in case you didn't watch it, you should do so. But make sure you smash up the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's get started. For those of you guys that's already in the live chat, appreciate your dedication to me and Bitcoin, because I always have something good to share with you guys. All right, so let's look at this real quick. This is not a pretty picture, right? So this is something that breaks down basically the top crypto out there in terms of whether or not they're gaining or losing. And today, you'll see that there's very, very little greens. There's actually a lot of red, a lot of red, and some they're deep in a red, like XRP and also XLM to a smaller extent. But you can see XRP is down 35%. Ouch. And I'm going to explain why in a little bit, but I think most of you guys already know. But BTC is barely even, right? Barely even, but you could see how all the alts, almost all, are draining out. And because of that, BTC dominance continues to rise. So right here, you can see 69.14%. That is pretty high. We haven't seen levels like this for a while. Now, when things were really, really shaky back in 2019, when Bitcoin dropped down to about 3,100, and also around earlier this year when Bitcoin dropped to about, flash crash down to about 3,800, we saw Bitcoin dominance, skyrocket, right? But now it's like a slow and steady rise, and I'm going to talk about this. What does this mean exactly, right? So, let's look at CMC really quick. So this is where you want to cover your eyes, because I know it's painful. You look at today's performance and the past 7-day performance, and on the front page, right on top, this is just horrific right now, right? XRP went down about 37% within the last day, and about 40% down from a week ago, right? And that is due to this. In case you didn't pick it up, I even created a video about how the SEC is suing Ripple due to unregistered security tokens being offered, unregistered security offering, basically, right? And the funny thing is the SEC, Jay Clayton, he's in office for only one more week. He declared he is leaving the office, and yet he chooses right now to go after XRP. You got to think why right now, right? What's the point for him to do this? Because once he leaves, who knows what his predecessor will do, right? Whether he's more pro crypto, more lenient, or maybe even harsher, right? We just don't know. So, and I don't think he's gonna know either, unless he already knows who's gonna replace him, and then he knows what's gonna happen. But it just seems like the timing of this is really off, right? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But that is the reason why XRP is so down. And you look at this, I just noticed this Bitwise. They just liquidated all of their XRP. So 4% of their fund was in XRP. And how big is their fund? Well, they have about $245 million under asset. Not as big as Grayscale, but $245 million, that's $250 million. That's a good amount. That's a lot of money. And roughly 4% of that, so close to $10 million was in XRP. And what did they do? They just dumped it. They dumped it all. They didn't want to wait for it. You know, they don't want to wait for XRP to come back up. And you know, Jeb McCaleb, who has been constantly dumping XRP, he's probably going to dump more just to, you know, throw salt on wounds, right? And that, yeah, that is the reason why XRP is going down. And in fact, you know, to rub it in a little more, not that I hate XRP, but to rub it in a little more, I told you guys I created this video this morning about when Bitcoin was at 5,000, right? And if you look at the CMC chart that I was showing then, XRP was actually higher at that point than it is now. So yeah, XRP is not in a good spot. Not in a good spot. If you're a part of the XRP army, you're probably feeling it. But it's not just limited to XRP. I mean, when I say altcoins are suffering, you look at a lot of these well-known big caps, even mid caps, that are draining out right now, which is kind of weird when you think that Bitcoin is not dumping. Bitcoin is holding steady. So why are these all draining out? Why are all these draining out? So you look at something like Ethereum, down 5% today. Why? You know why? And then you look at even Litecoin, one I talked about recently about picking up, it's down 6%. Why? But the good thing is at least within the week, it's still outperforming Bitcoin. But you look at Bitcoin Cash, well, I know why that's dumping. Chainlink, you know, a very well-known project. Cardano, why is Cardano going down? A lot of people love Cardano, right? And you could see Stellar also down huge, and that's because a lot of people are fearful that Stellar is so similar to XRP that the SEC might be going after them next. And whether or not you win or lose with SEC, you know that it's going to be ongoing for years. That's the thing. You know, EOS went through this, Tezos went through this, Kick went through this, and I'm sure other companies have went through this. They finally settled in the end, but those lawsuits took 2-3 years before they were settled. So I don't know if I don't know how it's going to be with Ripple, because Ripple is a little bit different, right? Not only are they suing Ripple, they're also suing specifically 2 of the 3 founders, which is Chris Larson. I think you guys know who Chris Larson is. And also Brad Garlinghouse, because they themselves sold $600 million worth of XRP themselves without disclosure. That is the thing. So SEC is not just going after Ripple. They're going after Ripple and Brad and Chris Larson. So it's going to be a different case for sure. All right, so you go down a list, like EOS is down 10%, Tron is down 8%, but for the week, you can see they're down. Tezos is down also 14%. Theta is pumping, right? But you get my point. Filecoin, Neo, Cosmos, VeChain, Aave even, you know, and DeFi. You got all these ones, right, that are really, really struggling right now. And that is why BTC dominance is climbing. It keeps climbing, which is why it's at 69% right now, right? But why is this happening? Why is this happening? Well, I have a couple explanations. Number one is, let's look at this BTC dominance chart. So, in case you guys weren't aware, you know, BTC dominance can also be charted on TradingView. You just search for it, BTC dominance, and it appears. So, if you look at this, for the most part, for most of Bitcoin's history, all the way up till basically beginning of 2017, Bitcoin dominance has always been high. It has always been high. You can see it has always been in the 90 percentile. So yes, back in the day when Bitcoin came out and you had a lot of altcoins, no one paid attention to altcoin. No one thought that they had any potential until 2017 came around, when Ethereum actually changed the crypto industry, changed really the blockchain industry, because they introduced smart contracts. So now you go from all these coins are simply copies and forks of Bitcoin to something that can be actually different, right? And that's what we're seeing now. We have seen token offerings. We have seen DeFi. We have now seen utility tokens and a whole bunch of other things spur out due to smart contracts. That is why BTC dominance started dropping. Even at March of 2017, Bitcoin dominance was still at 96%. That shows you how high it was. And then it dropped all the way down to 35%. And this is peak for altcoins. I'm talking about like the second week of January when Bitcoin already topped out, right? And altcoins went on a crazy run. And I'm talking about when altcoins went up 10x, 15x, 20x, 100x, right? That's where like projects like Tron that was under a cent shot up. Cardano came out of nowhere, shot up, and all these guys, EOS shot up. All these guys shot up like 100x, and now they're one of the big caps. And that is the reason why Bitcoin dominance has gone down so much since 2017. However, since 2017, we know that altcoins kind of struggled, right? Not all of them have come up, especially the low cap ones, even like nulls, for example. A lot of people are deep in the red with nulls, and I am too. And some altcoins are just not coming back up, but some altcoins have, and some have broken into all-time highs too. So it's not like it's all bad, but you could see that the majority of them have not been keeping up, which is why BTC dominance continues to rise up. So whenever there's like weakness in the market, Bitcoin is, of course, the one that everyone turns to, right? The one that has been around forever, the one that people basically transfer their money into when there's periods of weakness. That's how it goes with Bitcoin. So you could see since 2017 all the way up to about September of 2019, BTC dominance, although there was periods of up and down, pretty much consistently coming up, right? Until September 2019, you could see it started falling back down, and it went from, let's see, 72% all the way down to about 57%, right? So this is considered a mini altcoin season. This is what I refer to as a mini altcoin season, because this is not like this. When you have true altcoin season, this is what happens. BTC dominance will drop like crazy, and you see altcoins go to the moon. But we have seen periods of mini altcoin season. So this was also a smaller one. You could see from September 18 of 2018 all the way down to April of 2019. So that was, that was a good time. That was about 8 months where altcoins really shined, and then Bitcoin came down, right? And then now this kind of same thing since September 2019, all the way up until about September 2020. So about a full year where we saw altcoins slowly come up and rise to the point where the accumulation of altcoins rising is greater than Bitcoin. So that's how BTC dominance works, right? Or dominance in general works. So, but here's the thing though. Since August, we know that Bitcoin has been on a crazy run, right? In case you've been living under a rock or on a farm without internet, just go back a month and go back 2 months and see where Bitcoin was, and then look at where it is now, right? Even going back a month, Bitcoin was still at like under $19,000. It was still hovering like 18s and stuff. You go back 2 months, Bitcoin was like at 14s, 13s. That kind of shows you how much strength and momentum have shifted into Bitcoin. But that is the reason why Bitcoin dominance started going up. So where is this going? Well, you can actually chart Bitcoin dominance, and I'm going to do that a little bit for you guys. This is not pure science because obviously I'm only using data from 2 years ago. So, but you can see that there are trend lines, right? So something like this, you could see clearly, right? Lower highs, and then boom, you break out of it, right? And this is very similar to this. So I'm going to show you guys what happened in 2018 versus what is happening now, right? So you could see a mini version like over here, right? And once Bitcoin broke through, it topped out. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys. So you could see once Bitcoin broke through this trend line, it went up, down a little bit, hovered, and then boom, a big rise, right? So you could see, like right now, it's actually very, very similar. It broke through the trend line, right? And now it's starting to head up. Will it do something like this where it tops out, come back down and continue? Quite possibly. If you look at this situation right now, and even if you look at, like, let's say RSI, and you, like you see like over here, RSI is topping out around 86, right? So BTC dominance is going up. You can see RSI shooting up like crazy, right? And it could be going a little bit higher into the 70s before it takes a breather and comes back down. Altcoins recover, and then Bitcoin could be on its way up, right? So right now, it looks very, very similar to before, just stretched out a little bit. So what does this mean? Well, it means that BTC dominance can continue, right? It could definitely continue higher as Bitcoin strength comes in, or builds up, I should say. As more and more institutions and retails FOMO into Bitcoin, you could definitely see Bitcoin run up. But what does that mean? Does that mean you should just give up on altcoins altogether? You know, you should just dump it all for Bitcoin? Well, some of you guys have done that and have done very well, but some of you guys have also done the opposite and took opportunity to buy these dips. Because as you can see, even though there are periods where altcoins are really struggling, but there are periods where altcoins are doing really, really, really good, right? So I'll bring up Warren Buffett. Even though he hates Bitcoin and crypto, but I'm going to bring him up anyways because I think this quote is relevant. I will tell you how to become rich. Close the doors, be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. And this is kind of the same thing when it comes to altcoins and also with Bitcoin, right? When Bitcoin was falling down to 3,000, you know, the way to make money is by ignoring what other people are saying, which is Bitcoin's go crash down to 0 or crash down to 1,300 or whatever, right? You be greedy when other people are fearful. And I think this also applies to altcoins. It doesn't mean that all altcoins are good, but the ones that I've been talking about, recommending, the ones that you guys have been holding, you know what? Their opportunity will come, right? Who's to say, you know, 2021, late 2021, possibly going forward, we won't see an event like this happen where BTC dominance drops down so dramatically because all that money flows into altcoins, right? That could be coming. That could be coming. So I just want to share that with you guys. I do think BTC dominance will continue. However, I don't think it's time to give up on all your altcoins. But I have been saying, go heavy into Bitcoin. At least that's what I'm doing, because BTC is here to stay. Nothing is going to replace BTC as a store of value. There will be altcoins that will be used for different purposes, but as a store of value, nothing is going to break BTC ever in my history, in our lifetimes. All right, something else. Two other things I want to show you guys that relate to this. Number one, this shows the percent of Bitcoin that's on exchanges, right? So this kind of shows you how many people are actually trading Bitcoin. So this also shows you why Bitcoin is so strong and why BTC dominance is going up. So the black line is the line that shows BTC's price. Of course, it's going up and up and up. The orange line is the percent balance of BTC on exchanges. And do you notice this inverse relationship right now, right? This is uncanny. This is uncanny because if you look at, you know, what happened in 2019, 2020, you could see that the percent balance on exchanges was actually rising, right? And then BTC price was actually decreasing. So what does that mean? People were moving their Bitcoins into the exchanges to be sold off. That's actually what it means. But look at what's happening right now, right? The complete opposite. In fact, the number of Bitcoin, the percent of Bitcoins on exchanges that's floating around right now is at an all-time low. It's only around 12 point something percent. So think about how many holders there are now. Basically, people are not anticipating that they need to sell at all. Okay, you know, institutions coming in, they're buying OTC, or they're buying through Grayscale, or they're buying through some other means, and they plan on holding for the long haul. Even retail investors that has been in it for a long time, what they're doing is they're moving off the exchanges into their own wallets, right? And that is the reason why this is dropping like a rock and Bitcoin's price is going up, and also the reason why Bitcoin dominance is rising, because there's just a lot more holders now. A lot more holders. I mean, I don't know what other proof you need, right? Bitcoin is at an all-time high. We're not talking about Bitcoin, can't surpass 14,000. Bitcoin can't possibly surpass 20,000. What other argument is there? Bitcoin is sitting above $23,000, right? So as a bear, as a naysayer, I just don't know what else you can say. And then lastly, I want to talk about Grayscale because I addressed this issue recently in one of my videos too. What video was that? This one. I don't know. I don't know who started this FUD. Maybe just a few people. Maybe people were trying to take advantage of Christmas, the Christmas holiday when things are generally weaker. But something came out. People started talking about how Grayscale shut down their doors for new customers because there was lack of demand, or they were trying to drive price down. And that just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. Grayscale is taking on so much money that I believe, that's why I said in the video, I believe they shut down doors because there's too much demand. That their existing customers already told them, we plan on buying this much, right? And Grayscale is like, okay, we can't meet that demand. So we better just shut down new customers, new clients, because we're gonna have trouble just meeting demands of our existing customers. That makes sense. Just like in 2017, when exchanges all shut down, Binance shut down, Coinbase shut down, Bittrex shut down, all these exchanges shut down. They didn't want to take in new customers because their systems couldn't handle it, right? I took it the same way with Grayscale. And to prove it to you guys, so this is Grayscale's holdings from 2 days ago, 12/21/20, right? So you can see Bitcoin Trust, it's at $13.3 billion. 13.3, which is insane already. And this is what they have yesterday, 13.6 billion. So within a single day, even without new clients, they added another $240 million worth of Bitcoin in their trust, right? That's within a single day. Remember the week before when I would show you guys and talk about Grayscale, it would be phenomenal for them to add $200 million within a single quarter or a single month. Now we're getting used to the fact that Grayscale is adding 200 plus million of Bitcoin per day. That's how much they're adding, right? And, besides Bitcoin, so first of all, this notion that demand is weakening or they're trying to suppress the price, that's utterly nonsense. So I don't know who spread that, but that's utterly nonsense when they're adding $240 million worth of Bitcoin per day. But what's interesting is if you look at some of these other ones that they hold, right, they actually been going down. So for example, Grayscale is Ethereum Trust, 1.8 billion, and then it went down 1.8 billion, but you could see it went from 1831 to 1805. So roughly their clients sold about $25 million worth of ETH within a single day, right? And then you look at something like Bitcoin Cash, it also sold off about 3 million. Ethereum Classic was 79.7, went down to 74. So again, another 5 million, right? So you can see all these, oh, I didn't even check their XRP fund. XRP Trust, 20.8 million down to 18.6 million, right? So as you can see, the decreasing price in altcoins, right, correlates with this. You could see that their clients are actually selling off everything except Bitcoin, right? This also attributes why Bitcoin is going up because a lot of these rich and wealthy investors, institutional investors, right now, their faith and trust is in Bitcoin, not so much in altcoins. So this is another reason why Bitcoin continues to hold and why everything else is selling off. And if you think about it, this is a pretty amazing hold. For Bitcoin to go up this much, this fast, without having any kind of huge correction, kind of shows you how amazing it is, how much money is in it supporting Bitcoin at this point. And normally on a day like this, like if this was back 3 months ago, 4 months ago, a year ago, when you have a day like this where everything is down, right? Especially when you have like XRP down this much, Bitcoin will go down, right? But now it's starting to remind me of the good old days in 2017 when Bitcoin just keeps going up and up and up and everything else was just not following. And that's what it's looking like right now. All right, that was all I wanted to say. So I'll turn it to you guys for some Q&A. I see some people asking about Neo. What is new to talk about Neo? I mean, frankly, right now, Daniel, I appreciate that. Frankly, right now, it's Rango, Crypto Columbia. Why did you change it? Now it's gonna be hard for me to recognize you. But as for Neo, there's not much to talk about because just like some of these other projects like Cardano, they're waiting. Everyone's waiting for them to finish up with Neo 3.0, right? And Neo 3.0 is supposed to be better. There's more native smart contracts. There's better consensus. Better governance. There's a lot that people are waiting for. I believe they're already in beta, but I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head when they're gonna be done, and when they are gonna be done, how different it's going to be versus now, right? Because Neo's structure right now with their Byzantine fault tolerance, it's pretty centralized. It's pretty centralized. They want to get away from that. So Neo 3.0 helps them do that. So we'll see. But obviously the biggest crypto company out of China that I support is VeChain. VeChain is such a monster. They're already done. They have the biggest clients in China right now. So if you're looking at a price, the two, I think Neo might be even higher than VeChain right now, but it just doesn't make any sense. If there's one company that will be dominating the Chinese market, it's going to be VeChain, and they're just going to eat up everything. So that's what I believe. VeChain definitely over Neo. I did watch. Yesterday was debut of the NBA, right? Those of us that like basketball, we're in for a treat because it's such a short season, right? But I did not like Lakers losing. I did not like seeing the Nets win either because I hate Kyrie. I think it's a little biatch. But other than that, I'm glad the NBA is back. And sports cards is really hot again. Basketball cards is so hot. So hot. And I've talked about how I got in. But besides crypto being very, very, very hot, basketball cards is also very, very hot. Here's a question. Does the scarcity of BTC and huge institutional holdings prevent widespread holdings by the little guys worldwide? Doesn't it accumulate like wealth? Does it? To answer your question, yes. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Obviously, there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin out there, right? And I think this is a telling story. Out of all the Bitcoins out there, so there's about 18.5 million. Yeah, 18.5 million here, 18.6, right? Only 12% of that is on the exchanges, right? So that means for normal retail investors that want to buy, there's only 12%. So what is that? That's probably 1.9 million out there for the little guys to buy, while the big guys, the institutions, are buying everything else up, right? So yeah, of course they're buying, and their holdings are increasing. But while they do that, that is why demand is so high, right? So for those of us that got in, we're reaping the benefits, right? But I don't think that's gonna stop. This FOMO train just started with the institutions, and I think it's gonna go a lot higher. Tony, I'm glad you made it, but you're coming at a tail end. I'm about to end the stream. You need to come in a little bit higher. Those of you guys that tuned in, if you're new for the first time, welcome. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have a lot more. I'm gonna have a lot more videos for you guys to watch. I've been putting out at least one segment video a day, and also I have a live stream on weekdays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. So sometimes I post out good material, only sometimes, not always. And if you are completely new to Bitcoin, make sure you check out my Teachable page. It's a crash course on Bitcoin. It'll get you caught up real quick. And also I have my Patreon page for those of you guys that want to talk to me and others and get some exclusive content. So, what else is there? Everest, I'm glad you stuck with me for the last 2 years. I know some people have stuck with me for the last 2 years, 3 years. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey. So in case you know, you want to know what the journey was like, you should check out this video from this morning. You know, it's one of the ones I found when Bitcoin, you know, dropped down to 3,100. It kind of recovered 4,000 or 5,000, and at 5,000, I was feeling good because we were recovering from 3,100 to 5,000, and I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna put out a video talking about Bitcoin going to 200,000, right? So just imagine that. Right now, people don't even want to believe that. Being at 24,000, people don't want to believe it can't go to 200,000. But imagine when Bitcoin was at 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Did anyone want to hear that message? No, no one wanted to hear that message. But that message is exactly the same. Exactly the same. Bitcoin will go up because it's scarce. There's adoption coming. There's institutions buying, right? There's companies, enterprise companies that is getting involved, right? So basically, you buy, and you hold over for life, change your wealth. That is exactly the same story now, just a little bit different. It's more plausible, more believable because Bitcoin is a lot higher. But if you didn't watch that video, you should. It's I think it's a good one. I think it's a good one. Frankie. I think, okay, because I did talk a lot about XRP today, and obviously due to the lawsuit, right, it's not helping their case right now. Obviously with Bitwise selling 4% all their XRP, you know, it's not going to help, right? And Chris Larson is going to continue to, I mean, not Chris Larson, Jeb McCaleb is going to continue to sell, right? So these are things that's putting a lot of down pressure to XRP, but they will find their footing eventually and hold. Right now, we don't know what that footing is. It could be a lot lower than where it is now. In fact, they're about to breach in a 20-cent mark, which hasn't happened for a while, right? But they will get through it. All the SEC lawsuits before with big companies like EOS and Tezos, they were settled for just a slap on a wrist fine, right? But the thing is, with Ripple, I think the same thing's going to happen, but I just don't know what's going to happen with Brad and Chris Larson. Brad may step down as CEO because of it, because the lawsuit not only goes after Ripple, but also Brad and Chris themselves for liquidating $600 million worth of XRP without disclosure. I think that's the biggest thing. If they didn't do that, I don't even think the SEC goes after them. I don't even think, Jay Clayton cares, but I think it's due to that they care about, right? But we will see. XRP will get through this. Ripple will get through this. We just have to wait it out a little bit more. And XLM, yes, low roller is also going down because basically XLM is a fork of Ripple, right? Jeb McCaleb was a founder of Ripple and then started Stellar. So people are thinking they may go after him next. Who knows? I don't know if I know that Jeb has been selling all his XRP, but I don't know if he did the same thing with XLM, whether or not he sold without disclosure. And I don't know if XLM was ever sold. I think XLM was given as an airdrop. So I don't know the specifics, from the early days. I'll have to look into it. But that's the reason why XLM is also struggling a little bit too. Jim, I know you've been a faithful follower. I remember you. And same thing with Coca-Cola. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys staying with me, right? But I think you guys are all enjoying the journey. This is a journey that we could tell our kids and grandkids someday that we lived through crypto winter. And when Bitcoin's at $1 million, we could say, hey, we were right. We were right for getting into Bitcoin and holding, right? All right, guys, that is it for today. BTC dominance continues to rise, and I do think that it will continue to do so. But does that mean you should liquidate all of your altcoins again into Bitcoin? No. I think there will be a day. There will be a day for altcoins, right? It's not time to give up on all of them. There is a lot of good ones out there, and just remember what Warren Buffett tells you, right? Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. That's how you become rich, according to Warren Buffett. And since I talked so much about XRP today and also about Chris Larson, I got to show you guys this clip I found. This clip has been circulating around for a long time, and I don't know who started it, but it's very informative. So in case you want to know a little bit more about XRP, here you go.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.